Lombardi leaves Levi's. Gonna get in this elevator. There's still people riding in the press box, so I don't want to be too loud right now, but it is late night Lombardi. They're also starting to clean this place up. That's the talking here in the background. Hopefully this stays working through the elevator ride. Even if it doesn't, we'll be okay. I'll catch you on the other side of the elevator, downstairs. I almost shared an elevator with Jerry Jones this evening, and then we were waiting so long for the elevator, I was like, no, I can't wait for this, so I took the escalators to get down. But here we are, leaving the press box at Levi's Stadium. You've seen this in other videos before, like when I raced John Lynch. That was a fun one. I'm really curious. I forgot if the Wi-Fi works in the elevator or not. I guess it does. I think that we're still connected. Cool. 49ers 42, Cowboys 10. You guys know for these super late night games, I'm not gonna sit down and do that show because I don't think that many people are gonna be watching right now. Save it for the morning, make it to In-N-Out Burger. That's the rule. You gotta make it to In-N-Out in time after these games. So the 49ers absolutely thrashed the Cowboys. Brock Purdy and the offense has done something that only offenses led by Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, and Kurt Warner have managed before, and that is score over 30 points in 8 straight games. The 49ers defense made a statement. Diamond Lenore was pissed that everybody was talking about Dallas as the #1 defense. Lenore said, you know, we needed to readjust that. We needed to realign the rankings, and it looks like when the DVOA rankings come out tomorrow, the 49ers will be much higher up, the number 7. All I know is the point differential right now, #1 in the NFL, plus 99 by a lot. Buffalo's, who lost today, is number 2 at plus 79. So this was a tour de force from the 49ers. As you can see, I have the box score right here. So we can go through some of it on the walk out to the parking lot, but a 32-point win against the Dallas Cowboys, who came into this game, as I said, with that #1 defense. Got to roll your eyes a bit when you see that. Now, the 49ers just exposed every single thing about the Dallas Cowboys today. This is the best start in 49ers franchise history. The DVOA is out for that, for the 49ers 5-game start. No 49ers team, not even the dynastic teams in the 80s, started this hot. And the 49ers are top 2 in both offense and defense. I think Miami might still have the #1 title in offense, but the 49ers have it in defense. Well, the 49ers are number 2, and I think the defense is going to be top 2 when this comes out tomorrow. We'll see exactly where they are, but the point is, this is an extremely balanced football team. I mean, Mitch Wishnowsky was pinning them inside the 5-yard line, punts today. So offense, defense, special teams. We've never seen a 49ers team firing on all cylinders like this to open a season. I mean, forget just Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch. This goes back to the Joe Montana years, the Steve Young years. 1994 didn't start this good. They lost 40-8 to the Philadelphia Eagles. So, I mean, this is really something, what we're seeing right now from the 49ers. I mean, Diamond Lenore was so confident after. He said, this reminded me of the Legion of Boom beatdown of the Denver Broncos in the Super Bowl. That's what Demo said after the game. Deshaun Gibson said, you know, I was trying to stay humble, but I just couldn't do it anymore. These guys are just dogs around me. The 49ers believe they are head and shoulders better than the rest of the National Football League, and they have very good reason to believe that. If this team stays healthy, they are surefire Super Bowl favorites. That's how good this team is right now. If they stay healthy. I mean, and it's going to be really, really hard to stay healthy the whole season. That's part of this NFL battle, is winning that war of attrition. That's inevitably going to happen. I talked to Aaron Banks in the locker room today. He hurt his bicep. The 49ers are optimistic, though, that it's not going to be a severe biceps injury. So that's big. It's a good thing they signed John Feliciano. But when I talk about health and the war of attrition and making sure that you stay as available as possible to preserve this. This is a lightning in a bottle type situation, how good this football team is right now. When I talk about that, the first thing I think about is, okay, who got hurt today? Aaron Banks. How long is he going to be out? Well, I don't know. They're going to do more testing tomorrow. But the fact that the 49ers are operating as such a well-oiled machine right now, like the level of efficiency that we're seeing is just so absurdly above everybody else in the league. The fact that that's true means that we absolutely can talk about this team as a Super Bowl favorite, but we have to couch it with they need to stay healthy. I mean, that's the biggest thing right now. If they stay healthy and they keep on grinding the way that they're grinding, you talk to these veterans, they say that they're absolutely shocked with just how hard everybody works, how hard these practices are, despite the fact that, I mean, there are so many superstars on this football team. You get that vibe that this team, that this is a machine that will not be stopped by anything except for the unavailability of its players. So you just have to knock on wood if you're the 49ers. You have to hope that everybody stays available. But, you know, you guys, somebody might be thinking I'm going a little too heavy here. It's hard to go too heavy when this team is winning every single game by multiple possessions. Today, by, holy crap, what, 4 possessions, 32 points? And it's only 4 possessions that the Cowboys, if you consider a 2-point conversion, a converted 2-point conversion each time, be 8 points times 4. So essentially 5 scores against the Dallas Cowboys today. The 49ers won by 4 to 5 scores against a team that a lot of people were talking up as a legitimate Super Bowl contender entering this season. I mean, it's got to be terrible for the Dallas Cowboys knowing that your season is essentially over based on the thrashing that you took today. Jerry Jones didn't seem all too happy entering the elevator. I mean, he was a classy guy, though. He was taking selfies with all the 49ers fans who were asking for them. And, I mean, he just kind of seemed a little gloomy. And it was just like, oh, we just got our asses kicked. That didn't go well. He said this was going to be a measuring stick for the Cowboys and their Super Bowl chances. Well, that measuring stick came up very, very short. This 49ers team is obviously for real. We knew that before, but we now know that Brock Purdy should be the leader for the NFL MVP after 5 weeks. What a story that is. I don't know if he actually will be the leader. He should be, though, if you're actually looking at this in a non-biased and objective way. We know that the 49ers can run the hell out of the football. We know that Christian McCaffrey is phenomenal. What a tough football player. We know that you can't really guard them, right? I talked about the geometry just not working out for opposing defenses with so many weapons. Nick Bosa said the same thing. He said he's never seen an offense like this that can attack you with Ayuk, the man-beating abilities of Ayuk. Deebo Samuel's now beating man coverage in a way that he hasn't before. Brock Purdy can obviously capitalize on all this. Still hasn't thrown a pick through 5 games after all the hand-wringing over the training camp interceptions. Kyle Juszczyk scored a touchdown today. Juwan Jennings on the deep out today. George Kittle, of course, 3 touchdowns and a happy birthday. It is now officially George Kittle's birthday as it's after midnight. So all of that for this 49ers team, the way they can strain opposing defenses is something that we quite honestly have seen only very rarely in NFL history. So again, if they stay healthy, holy crap. Defensively, rush and coverage. Rush-fueled coverage back in 2019 more often than not. And then we've seen a transition since then to where the coverage has stepped up. But early this season, the 49ers needed a little bit more from their coverage if they wanted to be an all-time defense. They needed to tighten the screws up a little bit on the back end. And they entered this game knowing that Dak Prescott was a quick release guy this year, that Texas Coast offense needed to get the ball out quickly. It was designed to compete with teams like the 49ers and the Eagles. So the 49ers, Steve Wilks trusted the 49ers DBs with playing man coverage. Diomero Lenore told me, you know, our coach trusted us with man coverage from the very start of this game. They pressed up on them at the line, sticky coverage, and Nick Bosa was thankful for that because it really did buy the time for the 49ers pass rush. 4 sacks, 3 interceptions, their first forced fumble of the season. Kevin Givens, what a recovery. They practice that stuff, the 49ers do. Daniel Bullocks, their DB coach, rolls the ball out there, and all the big guys have to jump on it before it rolls out of bounds. 4 takeaways. The 49ers are now number 1 in the NFL in turnover differential, and they are now number 1 in the NFL in interceptions. They led both of those categories. They finished number 1 in both of those categories last season. They're back there at the top. Great teams turn the ball over. Great defenses turn the ball over, and great teams win that turnover differential. And the 49ers are winning that turnover differential now. So there's not much more to say right now from a overhead basis. That Gibson interception, that's a hard play. You got your helmet on. The Bosa sack early on beat Terrence Steele. The right tackle's not very good. There's the Oren Burks interception was nice. That was a good one too for the 49ers. Javon Hargrave, more pressure up the middle. Greenlaw and Fred Warner are the two best linebackers in football by a mile, if you consider the duo. Deshaun Gibson said that Dre Greenlaw is a top 5 linebacker. I would have to agree with him. Fred Warner is, I think, undeniably the best linebacker. But the point that a lot of the 49ers are making today is that he's more than just the top linebacker. He's a top defensive player. When you talk about Micah Parsons, when you talk about Nick Bosa, when you talk about Myles Garrett, you also need to be talking about Fred Warner. It's like he's built in a lab. He can pass rush like a defensive end. Had a sack today. He can cover like a safety. He was all over coverage today, had the interception off the Lenore deflection. And he could hit like a linebacker. He led the 49ers with 8 tackles today. So Fred Warner's a cheat code in the middle of that defense. And, you know, what the 49ers are doing, again, appreciate it while it's here. What the 49ers are doing is historic. It is extremely rare to see a team this good in the NFL. Like, the way that they've been playing, when you look at the advanced metrics, only like 4 or 5 other teams in the NFL history can compare by DVOA. No other 49ers team, none of the Super Bowl winners can compare with the start that the 49ers have had offensively, defensively, on special teams. They took a Dallas Cowboys team that was hyping up this game, making a big deal about making a statement here. They took that team and just kicked their ass 42-10. So perspective is everything. You guys know I try to bring it every week, and that's the perspective this time. My next perspective is In-N-Out Burger. What time is it? Can somebody message the time onto the chat section so I could see? So I need to make sure I get the In-N-Out before they close. 12:36. All right. I guess I have a few minutes. So don't get too worried about Aaron Banks. Let's wait till the actual prognosis. I talked to Aaron in the locker room, and he said that he thinks he avoided the worst. He's going to go in for testing tomorrow. So fingers crossed for Aaron Banks. Nobody likes injuries. There's a little biceps injury there at the end of the first half. In-N-Out's open everywhere. They're going to be open till 1 a.m. So I'm going to hit the In-N-Out by 1 a.m. That's the goal. John Feliciano would have replaced Banks if he's out next week. He replaced him in the second half today. He's a good veteran guard who has a lot of experience. The 49ers didn't skip a beat after John Feliciano took over today. Jordan Mason, big touchdown run. By that point, the Cowboys had already given up. 49ers will get the Eagles. Somebody says that he wants the Eagles. The 49ers will get the Eagles in early December. The Eagles looked okay today against the Rams. It's the Niners and the Eagles as the remaining unbeaten teams in the National Football League. Well, I'm going to get there a little bit before In-N-Out closes so they're not too pissed off at me. So I'm going to leave here in a couple minutes. Week 13 is the Eagles. Drake Jackson also heard. I need to listen to all of Kyle Shanahan's comments to be all caught up. I'm going to do that on the drive back to San Francisco right now. So, yeah, Drake Jackson did run into Bosa. That did look painful. Now the Browns have a very good defense. Statistically, maybe the number 1 defense. It might be the 49ers and the Browns at 1 or 2, or vice versa, when the rankings are all processed tomorrow. So it's going to be another showdown. A couple good defenses up there in Cleveland. We'll see what the deal with Deshaun Watson is. The 49ers have to take the show on the road now after an emotional win over the Cowboys. The 49ers took this one really personally. It wasn't as big of a deal to the 49ers as it was to Dallas, but it still was a big game, Sunday Night Football. So it's going to be a test next week against Myles Garrett, who's been playing as good as anybody, as well as anybody on that defensive line. So it's a big, big matchup. Every single week is a proving grounds in the NFL. And I mean, Brock Purdy's been proving himself. I mean, today was epic from Brock Purdy. The way he's layering that throw over into Deebo Samuel after the great throw outside of Brandon Ayuk got called back by the holding penalty. Elite level stuff. You know, I saw Jerry Rice and Steve Young chatting before the game on the field ahead of a 49ers Cowboys game. And I said, it's not the first time this has happened. So those two guys have chatted on the field with Steve Young holding a football before the 49ers have played the Cowboys. And it turned out good for the 49ers. In many of the instances that they played the Cowboys with those two guys out there. Well, turned out good for Brock Purdy and Brandon Ayuk and company and all of his bevy of weapons today. Impressive, impressive stuff. A lot of people said the 49ers hadn't played anybody. Well, one of the jokes was, when will the 49ers finally play someone? Even after this game against Dallas, doesn't look like they played anybody. They beat Dallas 42-10. You know, sometimes you're just so dominant as a football team that whoever you play looks crappy. And that's where the 49ers are. Whoever they play doesn't look good. Pittsburgh looks a lot better. They beat Baltimore today. Pittsburgh didn't look good against the 49ers. You know why? Because the 49ers are dominant. So we'll get to see the 49ers against the top teams in the league. Dallas might be one of them. They're not at the 49ers level. They might be one of the top 5 teams in the league, but they lose 42-10 to the 49ers. Jordan Mason did look good today, gave McCaffrey a little bit of a rest at key times. Sam Darnold was in this game early in the fourth quarter. The defensive line was resting by, late in the third quarter. Just completely manhandled Dallas today. You can't say enough about how good this performance was for the 49ers. Somebody wants to get Patrick Surtain. I'm not really sure if Denver wants to trade him. But the 49ers DBs played really well today. Lenore played well today. Charvarius Ward played well, that deep pass that he knocked away from Michael Gallup. And Isaiah Oliver played well too. The one Dallas touchdown was the 26-yarder to Kevontae Turpin, who's 153 pounds. And I think he got hurt on the play because he's 153 pounds. What do you expect? But he's not. That was great play call by Mike McCarthy. He has a 153-pounder, really small, agile guy, and he hit him behind the line so that Isaiah Oliver, who's a bigger DB, couldn't play the press coverage on him, and he snuck him out on a slot corner route. Dak Prescott threw a great ball. It was a bullet the Cowboys could only use once, let's be honest. So the bullet worked. You give Dak and the Cowboys offense credit, but it only worked once. And then the rest of the night, the 49ers were lights out. So yeah, I thought Isaiah Oliver did a great job against CeeDee Lamb. I thought that all the DBs did a good job in general. The coverage fueled the rush. Rush fueled the coverage. It went both ways. Fred Warner was a beast in the middle. Kevin Givens, great fumble recovery. Warner forced a fumble. Warner intercepted the pass. Warner had a sack. Nick Bosa had a sack. There's absolutely nothing to complain about if you're the 49ers today. Even the Dallas touchdown was, I don't want to call it a gimmick play, but it was a specialty play, and they specifically targeted the 49ers. You tip your cap and you move on, and then you realize the 49ers beat them 42-10. They beat them by 5 possessions. So beyond dominant, beyond impressive for the 49ers. It's time for In-N-Out Burger. I'm leaving Levi's Stadium right now. Lombardi Leaves Levi's is done. Just set your alarms for the morning. We're going to have a ton of coverage throughout the entire day tomorrow. I'm not going to get much sleep, I know it. So talk to everybody soon. 49ers dominate the Cowboys. Take care.